Yo guys, welcome back to the trading floor. Today, I'm with Tom. Hello Tom.
Hello there.
We're going to be talking about Disney Plus's recent subscriber loss and their price hikes. Do you want to kick this off, Tom?
Let's go for it. So, for anyone who is not aware, Disney Plus have announced or supposedly announced an increase to their prices in the UK. Whether or not it will also go through to other regions as well, I guess is up for discussion as well. However, the current cost is £7.99 per month, which is reportedly increasing by £3. Obviously, we'll delve into it in the article further, but this is obviously the second price rise for Disney Plus since it started. I believe when it originally started, it was $5.99, so there's that to take into consideration. But there's a lot of other factors involved in this, I think.
Bro, it was so cheap when it first started off, because I remember I got it first year, I was like, this is a good deal. Second year, they increased it by £10. I was like, alright, it's not too... £10 like for the yearly one. I was like, it's not too bad. And then third year, I just cancelled third year, because I was paying for this price increase. But yeah, let's have a look at the article. I know that they lost, you'll probably say in the article, but they lost, I think, 11 million subscribers in the last quarter. Here it is. So they had a 7.4% drop in customers or subscribers, and that's equivalent to 11 million. So it doesn't, oh yeah, it says it up here, 11 million. So it doesn't look too good for Disney. Yeah, go on.
I think the key thing to take away at the moment, though, is that the different pricing strategies, which obviously, as we go through this, it's actually, there's different options being introduced as opposed to a one-off price rise where everyone's charged the same. However, it's also the fact that the loss in subs isn't due to this price announcement increase or different pricing plan. It seems like they've decided to change the price after already losing the 11.7 million customers internationally, although that obviously is internationally. So just changing the UK's price, would that have some effect? Would it not? I think
obviously could be that they're just changing UK. If they change countries' prices in countries where they may not be able to afford it as much as those countries, they might not increase it there. So I'm not sure, but I'll have a look to see if the US one is going up. But maybe they're just doing like countries that they think can afford to pay higher prices.
Yeah, so for anyone interested, I guess the theory and business analysis behind it is all to do with price elasticity of demand, whereby depending on the elasticity, whether it's elastic or inelastic, will obviously depend on if you increase the price of something, will the revenue either decrease or increase. So I guess their theory is that because it has so much in it, potentially, obviously they have a lot of brand value, they can almost charge what they want within reason. It's quite an oligopolistic market in the sense that there's a few key players. Obviously you have Disney Plus, you have Netflix, you have Apple TV Plus. I guess those are probably the key. Obviously in the UK you now have things like ITVX and those competitors which could potentially change things. But obviously if they increase the price, their plan is that the amount of demand will decrease, however their total revenue will increase to obviously make up for that loss in actual amount of customers. So I guess their goal is to try and get back the revenue loss from 7.4% of those 146 million.
The other thing is they're cracking down on password sharing, and we saw Netflix do that. I believe it was earlier in the year, and they saw an increase in revenue. So obviously Disney are following suit of that. But Tom, my question to you is, do you think Disney are in a bit of panic mode at the moment because their last couple movies haven't been doing so well? I think I saw an article a couple of weeks ago saying that their theme parks weren't getting as much visitors. I think that's increased a bit now. But do you think Disney are kind of trying to find a way to make some more money? Because as well, if we look at their stock for the past year, they've kind of been heading on a downtrend. Apart from where they started to head up in early 2023, they're now at like all the way back to their 1 year lows of $85 a share.
I think in terms of the brand itself, it could overall potentially balance out. I think what people fail to realize is that all streaming platforms will lose subscribers and members from COVID. Obviously everyone was locked down, no one had anything to do, so the amount of potential customers was massive. So if there was, say, 200 million people subscribed each month, it's going to gradually decrease. It's not a growing model in the sense that you're not going to be gaining 10% each month like you would when everyone had nothing to do. So if people are going back to work, if they have other things to do, then they're going to be like, well, I don't really have time to watch it anymore. I'm not going to do it. I think in terms of obviously the parks and things, it could potentially almost increase in a way though, to potentially balance things out or go back to what it was before. In terms of the shows, I think there's a lot more coming out towards the later half of this year than there has been towards the start of this year. To compare it to Apple TV Plus, there's been a lot more shows each month, new shows and new movies, than there have been on Disney Plus. There's still obviously been quite a lot, but I think the main ones are coming towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I think Disney are in a bit of panic mode. I think because they just to confirm, they own not Lord of the Rings, Indiana Jones. Yeah. See, I don't think that turned a profit. Elemental, I don't think did. I don't think Lightyear turned a profit. I think the Miss Marvel show is one of the least viewed shows. I think it was only viewed by by nearly 1 million users. And if we go up here, we can see that, even now they have 140 million users. So under 1 million people watching the Miss Marvel show. Doesn't seem like the TV shows are pulling in a lot of viewers. And we've seen the return of the Disney, was it Bob Iger? He's the one who's come back, I'm pretty sure. And he's basically saying we're cracking down on TV shows for Marvel, because they're spending a lot of money on content, and I think people are kind of looking at it and don't have time to watch it, but two, they're getting overwhelmed by the amount of content that comes out. It's not that same special feeling that people feel like they have to keep going to the cinema every single time. I have to watch every single show every single time. So I think they're starting to save money now, and start making less shows to help save that money.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously the key thing is that on this article is that they're actually introducing a different pricing strategy and a different plan. So as you can see, obviously there's a cheap plan of $4.99 which has ads. So they're looking to introduce ads to their platform to obviously monetize the existing audience and customers in a different way. You obviously have the $7.99, which is going to be the standard, which is exactly what it is now, but you can only watch it on 2 devices at once. Or the premium version is essentially what has been said is the main price rise, but I don't actually think it's going to have that much difference because it's higher image quality and the ability for 4 different people to watch it at once. Unless you have 3+ people watching it on the same account, why would you not just keep with the $7.99 unless the image quality is that much different? I don't see that many people would increase it. I think instead of a price rise, it's more an introduction to a family sharing option, and the other one's going to be slightly decreased.
True, yeah. And how do you feel about paying for a service and then having ads on top of that? Like, I get that they're cheaper on purpose, so they're basically saying, look, you can get the content cheaper, but you have to watch with ads. But if we look at other streaming platforms like YouTube is probably the most obvious example. You either pay and have no ads, or you don't pay and you have ads. So it's almost like you pay and you have ads, or you pay more and you don't have ads. Do you think? Because obviously ads is I think Netflix, like, ads is like one of their most profitable part of their businesses now. So how do you feel about paying and still having ads on top of that?
I wouldn't do it. If I was paying for it, I would pay for the one without ads. I think it's actually quite a good idea, to be fair, because the $4.99 is cheaper than Disney Plus was when it was first released, 3 years ago. So I think if you can offer an option that is significantly cheaper and you get everything, you still get all the shows, you get everything, but you have to watch an ad every so often. It's no different than TV used to be a few years ago, where people would watch like Disney Channel. You would have an ad between each show. If it's
That's
something
true.
like that, how it's going to work, I'm not sure. Whether it's going to be before you watch the next show, or at the start of every show, or in between, I don't know how they'll do it, or whether it's just obviously if you're watching on browser, is it going to be browser ads? But I think ads revenue is significant. You know, places like Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it now is introducing ways to monetize. Even Twitch is offering ads incentive programs to creators. So there is a significant push to drive revenue with ads whilst trying not to charge people as much. I think personally I wouldn't go for it.
But I think what these companies are trying to are starting to realize is streaming isn't as profitable as they thought it would be. So I guess for companies like, you know, Disney, where they're kind of using Disney Plus as a platform to say, hey, go watch these other films and use our other content, you know, it's more of like an awareness. They don't mind losing money on Disney Plus for as long as it continues to promote all their other content. But on the other hand, it is harming them slightly, because I think there is a kind of mindset, and I know you Tom, you do this as well as me, is you see a Marvel movie comes out that you don't care about too much, and you just wait for it to come on Disney Plus, don't you? It's like,
oh yeah, if I'm not that interested about it, I'm not going to go to the cinema to do it. I'll just wait for it to come out on Disney Plus and watch it there.
Yeah, and I bet so many people, including me, so many people also have that mindset of just, if you don't really care about it that much, you'll just wait for Disney Plus to have it, and then that's a sale that they're losing in cinema. So it does seem kind of like a double-edged sword having a streaming service, because on one hand it's like, yeah, people are more aware of all your different products, and you can do more product placements and serve ads and have people paying a consistent fee to see all your stuff. But then on the other hand is people know that eventually the content you're putting out will come on Disney Plus. Well, versus, you know, 10-15 years ago, it used to be either see it in the cinema or get it on DVD or Blu-ray for like 20 plus quid, and like people would just be like, right, I'll see it in the cinema for £10. And also there wasn't such an oversaturation of content back then either, where versus now, like I was just saying a couple minutes ago, Disney having I think 2020, I think it was either 2021 or 2022 was the highest amount of hours of content Disney has ever put out of Marvel content. And I think that's slightly harmed them. That's my personal opinion, that is slightly harmed them, and people are now losing interest, just based on the fact that they don't know what's important. You know, at first, I think at first, before even the TV shows started to come out, they started saying, oh yeah, you know, you don't need to watch the TV shows. Then when they started, especially with WandaVision, they were like, yeah, you need to watch this now, it's part of the MCU. So if you want to keep up with a cinematic universe, you have to subscribe to Disney Plus.
Yeah, I think it's hard as well, because it'd be interesting to see how many people subscribe for, say, a month, watch everything they want to. So say they subscribe at the end of a series when everything's already out, they watch the whole series and then don't renew it. Because if you obviously say you subscribed at the start of a 8-episode series, then you're technically gonna have to pay the subscription twice, right? Whereas if you wait till the end, now there's obviously already so much on it. Whereas before, there was only a handful of shows that were new and you've never seen before. You would have to wait for stuff to come out, so you're like, oh, okay, I'll just carry it on. Whereas now you could literally watch the whole series and just not do it again. The
only thing you're missing out on is the hype, you know? The only thing you're missing out on by waiting till the end is saying, oh, well, I have to wait till the end after everyone else has, you know, gone through the hype of the series. But especially with Secret Invasion, I don't think there was much hype around it. Did you watch Secret Invasion?
I don't think they marketed it enough.
Nah, it wasn't the greatest. You know what? It got a lot of hate, and I somewhat enjoyed it, parts of it, but it wasn't great. I know some people that really hated it, and I can see why they did. But for me, it was just like a very mid program. It was I was just kind of watching it and thinking, why does this exist? Like, what's the point of this? Nothing. It just shows like, oh, Nick Fury is a bit old now. That's it. It doesn't change anything about the MCU other than like there's an evil president. That's it.
I just don't think they hyped it up enough themselves though. Because like if you look at there's a few other shows recently that have come out. Obviously you have Ahsoka and stuff coming soon, which the Star Wars fandom and stuff will go crazy for, just because of what it is. But like, I think was it this week? You had the new season of Only Murders in the Building, which is on its third season, and it's won however many awards for the previous two. So it has I guess not like a loyal audience who will want to watch it and will want to watch the next season because they watched the previous two and they thought it was so good. And I guess the other one is the new High School Musical season, which had like OGs from the original trilogy and stuff. So people will want to watch it because they watched the first one, so they might join to watch that. But it's also the last season of that. I think it's like their fourth series or something, but it's the last one. So it's like people will want to watch it because they watched all the other ones and then not necessarily watch the other things because they built up enough hype about them. But
exactly,
I think the key thing to the platform is to get people to watch shows that they wouldn't normally watch, like they did in the start.
Yeah, because a large part of it is if you look at box office numbers of like the budget versus box office, the budget doesn't include the marketing cost. So when you see a movie cost a budget of 200 million and it made 300 million, most likely that's either just broken even or has lost money. Especially for like a movie like a Disney movie or anything like any big company like that, they've probably spent like at least, come on, like 100 million on marketing. And that's what Elemental lacked as well. Did you see much marketing for Elemental? Because I didn't.
No.
I saw a poster in the cinema. I didn't even see any trailers in the cinema, and I went to cinema a lot around that time. I didn't see a single trailer in the cinema for Elemental. Tom, you got anything else to add before we wrap up?
I think it's hard for them to try and compare it to the previous years. So it's like they're saying, well, compared to, was it 1.1 billion pounds during the same period last year? If you compared it to the same period for the past 3 years, of course their numbers are going to be higher for the business because their costs were pretty much minimal compared to what it will be now. Now they have all their offices open and all of this and all of that going on. And it's like their revenue will never be the same as it was back then unless they develop and innovate in new ways. If you're solely going off the numbers of subscribers on Disney Plus, it will not reach what it was a few years ago. It's just not going to do that. But I think the key thing to realize here is 146 million users on a paid platform is a lot of money. Whether or not, if their revenues are increasing, their revenues are increasing. But how they decide to spend that and what they do with their costs on their other aspects within the business will obviously depend. I think the key thing is just to put out good content that will do well and what people want.
A major thing to look at is, I think it can be a safe prediction to say that this increase in price will lead to a decrease in subscribers. The main thing is will that increase in price outweigh those subscribers that have left? That's what they need.
In some ways, though, I kind of disagree. I think you'll get more people subscribed again at the $4.99.
Really?
Because if people are thinking, oh well, I cancelled it because it was $7.99 and I don't really use it that much, so it's not worth it. But if they think, okay, it's $4.99 but I get a couple of ads, then they might join back again. I think if it was solely $10.99 for everyone, 100% would lose members. Whether or not, I don't necessarily think there'll be that much difference for people keeping on the standard, because if they're paying the same price, they're not really going to care. How many people are going to change to the other one, I think would be the key metric to look at. Are people going to increase to $10.99 so they have more people? Or is it going to be a difference of, well, people actually don't really care about ads that much, depending on the density of the ads, will they change to $4.99? So actually their revenue's going down because they're keeping the same amount of members, but the price of the actual thing is decreasing.
Let's put in some odds. I think for next quarter, when the next earnings get released, I think they'll have decrease in subscribers and increase in earnings. What do you think for next quarter?
Oh, that's a really. I think if it was solely a price increase, then their revenue would increase, but their subs would definitely decrease. I think based on the pricing plan, I think the amount of members will either stay the same or increase. Yeah. But I think their revenue will likely decrease because more people will go for the cheaper plan.
Yeah.
However, if more people joined to become on the cheaper plan, then they'll make more money because they get more members. But I think that's the key thing to look at, is whether or not people would upgrade or go the other way.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to see next quarter. We'll come back to that next quarter.
Sounds good.
All right. So we'll see you guys in the next video. We hope you enjoy this one. Like, subscribe. Tom, you want to say anything before we head off?
Subscribe.
Yeah, do that. All right. See you later, guys.